あ、よし。ぐっもーにー、くんちゃんだよ。今日もやっていきましょうか。むちゃくちゃ今眠いけど。じゃあ、やるね。なんか、結構過去の話とかさ、先週とかさ、そういう系なんだ。
17.
17.
No, my brother was a tour guide.
No, my brother was a tour guide. いいえ。弟はツアーガイドでした。
My mom was a tour guide for 17 months.
My mom was a tour guide for 17 months. My mom was a tour guide for 17 months.
She worked in France and America.
She worked in France and America. 彼女はフランスとアメリカで働いていました。
There is a really tall building in Vancouver.
There is a really tall building in Vancouver. バンクーバーには本当に高いビルがあります。
Vancouver and Toronto.
Vancouver and Toronto. Vancouver and Toronto.
My mom walked to the park every day.
My mom walked to the park every day. 母は毎日公園に歩いて行きました。
My grandpa lived in that old apartment.
My grandpa lived in that old apartment. 祖父は古いアパートに住んでいました。
My grandpa walked to work every morning.
わー、絶対これいけると思って飛ばしちゃいました。
My grandpa walked to work every morning.
My grandpa walked to every morning. My grandpa
worked to
every morning.
every morning.
Walk.
My grandpa walked to work every morning. Walked to
every morning.
every morning.
え？
My grandpa walked to work every morning.
うわー、ちゃんと聞かないとぼやぼやじゃんもう今。
Soup.
Soup.
My best friend lived in Toronto.
My best friend lived in Tokyo. Toronto. My best friend lived in Toronto. My best friend lived in Toronto. うわー。
16 years, 17 years.
16年、17年、16 years, 17 years.
Vancouver is a pretty city.
Vancouver is a pretty city. Pretty. Vancouver is a pretty city.
Oh, my mom worked at that company.
Oh, my mom worked at that company. 母はその会社で働いていました。
Yes, he lived in Japan for 2 years.
Yes, he lived in Japan for 2 years. Yes, he lived in Japan for 2 years. Lived in. うわ。
She often walked to the bus station.
She often walked to the bus station. She often walked to the bus station.
My aunt also worked as a tour guide at that company.
My aunt also worked as a tour guide at that company. My aunt also worked as a tour guide at that company. うわー。
My grandpa lived in that old apartment.
My grandpa lived in that old apartment. その古いアパートに住んでいました。
My grandpa walked to work every morning.
My grandpa walked.
My grandpa
walked
to.
to
My grandpa walked to work every morning.
work
Every morning.
今朝ごはん食べてる。もうめちゃくちゃ眠い今。いや、眠い。待った。ああ、来た来た。一瞬いなくなってたな。
Theater.
Theater.
This is a wonderful book.
This is a wonderful book. これは wonderful 素晴らしい本です。
My girlfriend is wonderful.
My girlfriend is wonderful. 私の彼女は素晴らしいです。
My uncle's girlfriend worked at a theater in Toronto.
My uncle's girlfriend worked at a theater in Toronto.
My uncle's girlfriend worked at a theater in Toronto.
At a theater. My uncle's girlfriend worked at a theater in Toronto. Toronto. Worked at. ダメだ。
My aunt was a famous actress.
My aunt was a famous actress. おばは有名な女優でした。
That writer worked at a
The
library.
writer worked at the library. That writer はくしゃみ出そう。その作家その作家は The writer worked at a library. 図書館で働いていました。
She was a wonderful writer.
She was a wonderful writer.
She was a
wonderful
writer.
writer.
She was a wonderful writer.
She was a wonderful writer.
There are 6 theaters in this city.
There are 6 theaters in this city. There are この都市には6つの劇場があります。
Your dad was an actor, right?
Your dad was an actor, right? あなたのお父さんは俳優でしたよね。
My brother's girlfriend was an actress.
My brother's girlfriend was an actress. My brother's girlfriend was an actress.
One.
My dad was a wonderful actor.
My dad was a wonderful actor.
His girlfriend lived in Toronto, but he lived in Vancouver.
He lived in Vancouver. His girlfriend lived in Toronto. 彼の彼女はトロントに住んでいましたが、but he lived in Vancouver. 彼はバンクーバーに住んでいました。
He was a writer and she was an actress.
He was a writer and she was an actress.
He worked as an actor at that theater.
He worked as an actor at that theater. 兄の彼女は女優でした。My
My
brother's
brother's
girlfriend
girlfriend
was
was
an
an
actress.
actress.
父は素晴らしい俳優でした。My
My
dad
Dad
was
was
a
a
wonderful
wonderful
actor.
actor.
来た来ました。来ましたね。今来た。うわ、眠い。
Bakery.
Bakery.
He helped my mom every
He
day.
helped my mom every day. He helped my mom every day. 彼は私の母を毎日手伝いました。
My dog helped me at the office.
My dog helped me at the office. My dog helped me at the office. Helped.
Helped.
My dog helped me at the office.
I made 20 hamburgers.
I made 20 hamburgers. ハンバーガーを20個作りました。
We worked at a beautiful
We
coffee
worked
shop.
at a beautiful coffee shop. We worked at a beautiful coffee shop. 私たちは美しいコーヒーショップで働いていました。
You worked at a coffee shop last year, right?
You worked. もう一回言って。
You worked at a coffee shop last year,
At a
right?
coffee shop last year, right? You worked
You worked
at a
at a
coffee shop
coffee shop
last
last year,
right?
right? You worked at a coffee shop last year, right?
You worked at a coffee shop last year, right?
Oh, they lived in Tokyo
Oh.
10 years ago.
They live in Tokyo 10 years ago.
Oh, they
Oh.
lived in Tokyo 10 years
lived
ago.
in Tokyo 10 years ago. 彼らは10年前に10年前東京に住んでいました。
They lived in Vancouver 50 years ago.
Vancouver 10 years ago. うわ、10じゃねえ。
They lived in Vancouver 50 years ago.
They lived in Vancouver 50 years ago. 彼らは50 years か50年前にバンクーバーに住んでいました。
Oh no,
Oh
my
no.
girlfriend made
My
sushi.
girlfriend made sushi. Oh no, my girlfriend made sushi.
Hop,
Hop,
hop.
hop.
My mom was an actress
My
10
mom
years
was
ago.
an actress 10 years ago. My mom was an actress 10 years ago.
No, my
No.
best friend worked at that
My
bakery.
best friend worked at a bakery. At that? No. My best friend worked at that bakery. そのパン屋で働いていました。
17 years ago.
17 years ago. 17 years ago.
Do you make 50 muffins every day?
Do you make 15 muffins every day? Do you make 50 muffins? あなたは毎日50個マフィンを作りますか？
My grandma makes
My
50
grandma-
pizzas every day.
My grandma makes 50 every day.
My grandma makes 50 pizzas every day.
Pizzas every day. My grandma makes 50 pizzas every day.あなたは去年コーヒーショップで働いていましたよね。Do you? You worked at a coffee shop.
Coffee
Shop. Last year.
year.
Right? 彼は毎日私の母を手伝いました。He helped my mom every day. ポペご飯食べる。もぐもぐタイム来る。Okay.
She loved me.
She loved me. 彼女は私が大好きでした。
My mom often went to the bakery.
My mom often went to the bakery. 母はよくパン屋に行きました。
I loved my school.
おっと I loved my school.
I loved my school.
My favorite subject was art.
My favorite subject was art. 私の好きな科目は美術でした。
Little brother, little sister.
Little sister. 弟妹。
My grandma loved art.
Loved art. My grandma loved art.
There was a clown downtown every day.
Clown downtown every day. 毎日 There was a clown downtown. ピエロがダウンタウンにいました。
I went to school at 8 a.m. every morning.
I went to school at 8 a.m. every morning. 毎朝8時に、午前8時に学校に行きました。
Do you also like art?
Do you also like art? Do you also like art?
Lived.
My little sister's favorite subject was also art.
My little sister's favorite subject was also art. My little sister's favorite subject was also art.
My little sister went to school at 7 a.m. every morning.
My little sister went to school at 7 a.m. every morning. Every morning. My little sister. 妹は毎朝午前7時に学校に行きました。学校に行きました。
My school was downtown.
My school was downtown. My school was downtown.
I went to Shanghai last March.
I went to Shanghai last March. I went to Shanghai last March.
I often went downtown.
I often went downtown. I often went downtown.
They loved their grandma's house.
They loved their grandma's house. They loved their grandma's house.
I went to that pretty park after school.
I went to that pretty park after school. I went to that pretty park after school.
My mom often went to the bakery.
My mom often went to the bakery. 母はよくパン屋に行きました。パン屋に行きました。ラスト
Mountain.
I also lived in a small village.
I also lived in a small village. 私も小さい村に住んでいました。
My aunt lived in a small village.
My aunt lived in a small village. My aunt lived in a small village. Lived in a small village.
Your big sister worked at a company, right?
Your big sister worked at a company, right? あなたのお姉さんは会社で働いてましたよね。
I stayed in a hotel in Shanghai.
I stayed in that hotel in Shanghai. I stayed in a hotel. 上海の上海ホテルに泊まりました。上海でか。
I visited that village last week.
I visited that village last week. I visited that village last week. Visited. うわ。
Look, that clown is climbing the mountain.
Look, that clown is climbing the mountain. 見て。ピエロはその山に登っています。くしゃみが。おーっと。
Do you
ぼや
climb
ぼやや
Mount
ん。
Fuji every year? Do you climb Mount Fuji every year?
Do you climb Mount Fuji every year? あなたは毎年富士山に登りますか？
My grandma visited Mount Fuji every year.
My grandma visited Mount Fuji every year. My grandma visited Mount Fuji every year. Visited.
Your grandma climbed Mount Fuji, right?
Your grandma climbed Mount Fuji, right? あなたのおばあさんは富士山に登りましたよね。
I climbed those mountains every year.
I climbed those mountains every year.
I climbed those mountains every year.
I climbed those mountains every year. 私は毎年それらの山に登りました。
My big brother and I climbed those mountains every summer.
My big brother climbed
My
big brother
climbed. My big brother and I climbed those mountains every summer.
and
I climbed. My big brother and I climbed those mountains every summer.
those mountains every summer.
Those mountains
every summer.
Every summer.
My big brother stayed at my aunt's house every week.
My big brother stayed at my aunt's house every week. My big brother stayed at my aunt's house every week. Da.
My grandma worked at a restaurant in that small village.
My grandma worked at a restaurant in that small village. My grandma 祖母は その小さい村のレストランで働いていました。村にあるレストランで働いていました。
My grandma climbed a mountain last summer.
My grandma climbed a mountain last summer. My grandma climbed a mountain last summer. Summer.
My best friend stayed at my house.
My best friend stayed at my house. My best friend stayed at my house. Stayed at my house.
No, I can't climb that mountain.
No, I can't climb that mountain. No, I can't climb that mountain.
I stayed in a hotel in Shanghai.
I stayed in that hotel in Shanghai. 上海でホテルに泊まりました。
Look, that clown is climbing the mountain.
Look, that clown is climbing the mountain. 見て、そのピエロは山に登っています。来たー！来ました。今日マジボヤボヤだな。ポッポロペー。よし。ちょっと早いけど、今日マジボヤボヤだから、二度寝してくるね。眠い。眠い。そして僕はいなかった。眠い。じゃあ、おやすみ。グッナイト。